Have you ever felt overwhelmed by life's challenges and wondered if things would ever get easier? Well, what if I told you that the key to overcoming these obstacles that it lies within you through your unique gifts and superpowers that you have just waiting to be used? Now, it's interesting because all week this week I've been recording videos, and for some reason they've had this theme or focus around like mental health and mental resilience, and I wasn't intending to do that, but that's what happened. So today I want to continue that theme, and I want to dive into how you can use the GIVER method to overcome personal challenges by really tapping into those strengths, those gifts, those superpowers. We're going to go over 8 strategies that are going to help you to transform even the toughest situations you may have into really big opportunities for growth. Now, my name is Jake Talbert. I'm the founder and chief giver over at the GIVER method. If you're new here, welcome. The GIVER method, what we're all about is helping people to identify their gifts and superpowers so that they can then take those to the right people to influence and have an impact and be intentional with, so that you can create value for them in a way without asking for anything in return. And that each engagement, discussion, interaction is as eager and effective as possible. And when you do this, it allows you to step into who it is that you're meant to be. It allows you to get what I call relationship riches, which is those deeper, more meaningful connections. And when you do this, the universe has a way of paying you back. Now, when it comes to this idea of feeling overwhelmed or feeling like you're behind or anything like that, the GIVER method is so important for stuff like that, because when you start to develop these things, it's going to help you to move past the overwhelm faster, and you find satisfaction as you go. So we're going to talk a lot about those principles, and when the universe pays you back, it pays you back with all sorts of opportunities. Now, if you haven't already, please, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, leave your comments along the way, of course, and at the end of the video, feel free to share it with someone you feel may need that. Now, for each principle or thing that we're going to cover, I'm going to give you some detail around it, and then for each one, I'm also going to provide you an action item that you could start doing today or this week, so that as you start to implement that, you can start to see a change this week, this month, or as soon as possible. So I highly recommend you grab a piece of paper to write on, or open up a note so you can take down what those action items are and start putting them into practice. Remember that simply watching this video isn't the thing that's going to make the difference. It's not going to make the impact. It's about putting the principles into practice as soon as possible. So with that, let's dive in. So number one, the first thing is that you have to, the idea behind it is resilience and creating or cultivating resilience. This is about using your gifts to bounce back from setbacks. Resilience isn't just about enduring through hardships. It's about adapting and growing and even thriving in the face of adversity. I mean, research I've read shows that resilience, it's not a trait that people either have or they don't have. It involves behaviors, thoughts, actions, and it can be learned and developed by anyone. So if you cultivate this resilience, you're building a capacity to really recover from things quickly. Now, in the GIVER method, when you're focusing on your unique gifts and superpowers as a foundation to build resilience, and you apply them to challenges, you're not only solving the problems, but you're reinforcing your ability to overcome obstacles in the future. An experience I had where a challenge came up actually happened when I was managing a team of people, and a team member was unexpectedly killed in a car accident. And this had a huge impact on my team. There was a lot of emotion, a lot of people around my team as well. There was multiple people having deep concerns and grief around this sort of an idea. And, I was able to look at it through this lens of empathy and active listening and hearing everybody out. I wasn't close to this individual, as other people were on the team. Some of them were extremely close to her. And so what ended up happening is I was able to actively listen and show empathy and really, hear what people were saying and help guide them through what that grief could look like, and that's something that then in the future, when I've had people close to me pass away, that I've relied on those same skills to be like, okay, hold on, I need to listen to myself. I need to listen to my friends who are grieving or my family. And it helps you when that's sort of a challenge, or any challenge, when you've put those things to practice before, it helps you to move past the challenges even faster. So the action item here is going to be that think of a challenge in your life. Think of a challenge maybe you've had in the past, and write down 3 ways that maybe your gifts or superpowers could have helped you to address it. Think of a challenge you have right now, and write down maybe 3 ways that you could use your gifts and superpowers to move past it. And choose one of those approaches and implement it over the next week and start to see what that changes. Make sure that you reflect on it and write down and keep track of what those results may look like. Now, our second principle or thing we want to cover is all about strength-based problem solving. Now, this approach focuses on leveraging your unique talents and skills to tackle challenges rather than, fixating on a weakness or shortcomings that you may have. According to some research, people who use their strengths every day are 6 times more likely to be engaged in their jobs and 3 times more likely to report having an excellent quality of life when they use their strengths. I mean, that was an amazing thing that I read, so I made sure I noted it. So this principle isn't just about that solving problems, it's about approaching challenges in a way that energizes and fulfills you. Naturally, a part of the GIVER method is we want to encourage you to identify your core strengths and apply them creatively as much as you can to the challenges that you're facing. This not only leads to more effective solutions, but also boosts your confidence and your satisfaction in the process. One of the ways that this shows up in my life is I'm really good here at what I do day to day when I'm working with small businesses and entrepreneurs. I'm really good about taking complex problems and breaking them down to be simple, to come up with simple solutions, simple systems that could then be moved forward, implemented, whatever it may be for that type of a business. And that's a skill set and a gift that oftentimes when you are running a small business, you're an entrepreneur or whatever that may be, you may be utilizing your gifts and superpowers as a part of what you do. It's part of what your business is. But the biggest thing that entrepreneurs and small business owners struggle with is how do you use that gift or superpower outside of what you're doing day to day? And so for me, it was about taking that same sort of a concept and applying it in my personal life. How do I use my strength of being able to break down complex problems, make things simple at home with my wife and my boys, or with my family members, friends, or at church as I'm helping individuals? And what it allows me to do is it allows me to actually work through people's problems with them and creatively come up with ways that we can address whatever those problems are, or create some sort of a process or a system or something that they could do that helps them to move past those challenges. So you have to find the ways that you use those in multiple settings. Now, the action item here is going to be to list your top 3 strengths. And for each one, brainstorm how you could apply them to challenges you're facing, and also how maybe you could apply them when you're helping others that you see, you're helping someone else with a challenge they're facing, and you can apply it to help them. All right, so the third thing we're going to cover is focused on developing emotional intelligence through the act of giving. Now, emotional intelligence is something that I'm not a crazy expert on, but I had to write a lot about it in my book that's going to be coming out in a few months. And so I know how important emotional intelligence is. In case you don't know, emotional intelligence, it's about the ability to understand and use and manage your own emotions in a positive way that relieves stress. It communicates really effectively. It empathizes with others. It helps overcome challenges or even diffuse conflict. Different reports or different articles I've read show that individuals with high emotional intelligence are more equipped to handle high stress situations and overcome personal situations. One article I was actually reading found that emotional intelligence was positively related to job performance and negatively related to stress. That's so important as a part of that. So practicing this emotional intelligence. So the GIVER method, we kind of try to take it a step further by emphasizing how you can how the act of giving and using your gifts and superpowers in a giving way, it enhances your emotional intelligence. When you're using those gifts in that way to help others, you're not just benefiting them, but you're also developing your own emotional awareness and regulation skills. An interesting story here is I oftentimes will get myself into where between running a company and launching a book and things that go along with that and being married and having 3 boys and responsibilities at church and everything else that happens, I get myself into overwhelm, or I'll get myself into a stressful situation. And I'm a very routine person. So when my routine gets thrown off, it throws that overwhelm and stress into an even higher level. And so there are times where then I get asked where I could go help somebody with service or by applying my gifts or superpowers somewhere. And there's this resistance in me to do it where I'm like, ugh. And I imagine a lot of you feel that way, where it's I don't want to do that. But the thing that's always interesting is that even though I may be stressed or frustrated or overwhelmed, when I then go and help the other individual, when I provide that service to them, especially using gifts and superpowers, I come back more energized. I come back with feeling like a lot of that weight of overwhelm and stress has been lifted. I still have as many things to do. I just feel lighter because I've been able to go and to utilize my skills in that sort of a way. So an action item here is going to be next time that you're feeling low, down, stressed, overwhelmed, whatever it may be, find a way to use your superpower to help someone else. And pay attention to the effects that it has on your emotional state. Now, the fourth principle that we're going to dive into is all about this idea of activating a growth mindset and viewing challenges as opportunities to develop your gifts. Like, this concept suggests that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. It's not something that's just innate. Like, it's not that it always has to be something that's so natural to you. It's something that you can develop. Any gift or superpower, yeah, sometimes it will come easier to some people, or you'll have certain things that come easy to you that don't come easy to other people. But if you're still wanting to develop in those other areas, if you keep that growth mindset, you'll be able to do that. So did you know that individuals that have a growth mindset, they are so much more likely to embrace challenges, to take them on, to persist, like keep pushing forward and be resilient when they face setbacks, and see effort as a path to mastery, and they learn from the criticism and the stuff that people give to them. Like, in contrast, if you have a fixed mindset, you tend to avoid challenges, you give up easily, you see that efforts might be fruitless, I can't do it, it's not going to make a difference, and you ignore feedback or criticism that may come your way that may be useful to you. And so the GIVER method, what we want to do is we always want you to integrate this growth mindset, and we want to encourage that you see every challenge as an opportunity to refine and expand yourself and your superpowers. And like, this shift in perspective will transform how you approach these difficulties in your life. For years, I operated from a fixed mindset, and I know for a fact I avoided challenges or opportunities. I avoided conflict. I avoided talking about hard situations or the hard things that need to be talked about. I wouldn't put up a fight on certain things. I would just give up. And I looked at any feedback, positive or negative, or any criticism, even if it was constructive, as like direct attacks. And I'd almost took them personally in offense, to them. And it was only once I woke up out of that mindset and started to activate this growth, challenges as opportunities. I saw all the setbacks as learning moments that I could have on a path that's always moving me forward. It may be a setback, but it's still on the path forward. And had I not shifted that mindset, I know for a fact that I would have never landed a very specific job that I got that completely changed my life forever, based off the fact that they actually turned me down for it, and I had to come back a year later to get it. So I know for a fact that changing this, it has the ability to open up opportunities for you. So your action item here is going to be to start like a journal where you're looking at your lessons learned. And each time you face a setback, write down what you learned and how it's helping you to grow. You can even go backwards in time and say, well, what were some of the lessons learned? Like, it's easier looking backwards than it is like in the current moment. So maybe create like a backlog of what those were. And then as you learn new things along the way, you continue to add to this journal of lessons learned. Number 5, of course, that we're going to dive into focuses on building a strong support network using your superpowers. And I talk a lot about support networks and why they're so important, and in almost every video. And it's so true that when you do that, social support, like, it is like such an important factor in resilience and overcoming challenges. An article I read said that individuals with strong social relationships, they had a 50% increased likelihood of survival compared to those with weaker social skills. So, to me, that's why with the GIVER method, we encourage you to use your gifts and superpowers, not just to solve your own problems, but to connect with others and support others, and to give to them in a way that you're providing value and not expecting anything in return. This sort of reciprocal giving creates a network of mutual support and becomes invaluable through times. By offering your superpowers to help others, you're not only making a difference in their lives, but you're also creating a community that will be there for you when you need it the most. Now, I put this into practice when I started really diving into and learning more about developing the GIVER method, where I, through work, there were certain channels of people that, networks we were in, and I kind of changed my perspective. I said, you know what? I'm not going to look at these as, just learning opportunities for me, or opportunities for me to be in front of people who could be clients of mine, but I'm just going to give. I'm just going to offer as much value as humanly possible. And along the way, I know that the universe is going to pay me back in some way and create opportunity. And so one specific network where I show up to the calls every week, I provide as much value. I offer to get on extra calls with people. I provide links or anything I can. Like, I will coach people as much as humanly possible to help them to improve. And what I found is I never ask anyone to come work with us. What ends up happening is they reach out to me and they say, hey, I was wondering if you could help me with blank. Well, now they've asked the question and they've opened the opportunity for me to now engage with them in a discussion about actually working with me. So it has this way of always paying you back. Now, the action item here then would be identify 3 people that you could be a part of your network, your support network. Reach out to them this week, offering your gifts or superpowers with something maybe that they're working on, and start to see how that deepens that relationship. Now, the 6th item that we're going to cover is about this idea of self-compassion. I've talked a lot about that this week as well. It involves treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer to a good friend. Self-compassion is strongly associated with emotional intelligence and more accurate self-concepts, and it leads to more accurate self-concepts and less anger. And the GIVER method, we talk a lot about and emphasize on self-compassion as one of the crucial components to personal growth and overcoming challenges, because it's about acknowledging our struggles without judgment, without recognizing that imperfection is a part of our shared human experience that we have. And practicing self-compassion allows you to bounce back from setbacks more quickly and to maintain that emotional strength you need to continue to give and using your superpowers as effectively as possible. And so the action item here is write yourself a compassion letter. Acknowledge your efforts and the challenges you're facing. Include how your superpowers are going to help you to move forward and create that plan of how that path would be for yourself. Now, our 7th principle is all about developing purpose-driven resilience. Now, this involves finding meaning in your challenges by aligning them with your broader life purpose and values. A lot of research out there will show that having a sense of purpose in life is associated with the greater resilience and better health outcomes and increased longevity. And so we incorporate that when we start working with people on the GIVER method and encourage you to connect your personal challenges to a larger mission of giving or making a positive impact or stepping into who it is you're meant to be, whatever that thing may be. And when you view your struggles through the lens of purpose, they become stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. This principle, it's all about transforming the perspective from why is this happening to me to how can I use this experience to grow and better serve others with my gifts and superpowers. And so the action item here is going to be to reflect on how your current challenges might be preparing you to help others in the future, and write down maybe 2 to 3 ways that you could use this experience to make a positive impact in someone else's life. Our final principle, the 8th principle or whatever it may be, focuses on continued learning and adaptation. Once again, in today's completely super fast changing world, the ability to learn, unlearn, relearn, adapt is so critical to overcoming challenges and staying resilient. Think of it this way, that a learning agility that you may have, that ability to learn and adapt and apply ourselves in constantly changing and morphing conditions is one of the key things to long-term success. And even leadership potential if you're thinking of it from a business perspective. And so what I like to emphasize is the importance of continuing development and adapting your gifts and superpowers as you meet new challenges, and realize that you will develop new gifts and superpowers over time. What you have today isn't necessarily going to be what you have in a week, a year, a month, 5 years, whatever it may be, however far out. This idea, it's going to encourage you to see every obstacle as learning opportunities to regularly seek out new knowledge and new skills. I know for a fact that I try to always be reading books and watch videos and read articles. I'm on this constant path of trying to learn and grow and adapt. And I know that I'll read about something like a really deep principle or watch a video on something, watch a training of some kind. And without fail, that next week in my personal life, my professional life, whatever, that topic comes up in some way. And it's oh, actually, I was just a thing I was just looking at. And I've done it multiple times in this video, hey, an article I was just reading recently. And so you have to focus on continuing that learning and changing and adapting as you go. So the action item on this one is to commit to learning to one learning activity each week that helps you to develop yourself and develop your gifts and superpowers. It could be things like articles or videos or practicing your skills or some sort of a course or whatever that thing may be. But put one learning skill, one learning practice in every single week, and you're going to find that each week you're continuing to improve yourself in that way. Now, I want you to remember that overcoming personal challenges, it's not about being perfect. It really is about leveraging your unique gifts and superpowers to grow and make a positive impact, even in difficult times. So start small. Try one of the action items I talked about. I try to make them as easy as you can be so that you can start small and work your way up. And each day find one way that you can use your superpower to address a challenge or to help someone else. And remember that your superpowers are your greatest asset when facing life's challenges. And your gifts and superpowers, they're so unique. Like no one else has the same combination of things as you. So no one else can provide that value or help others in the way that you can because of your background, your experiences, and the way you've developed yourself in that way. And so apply the GIVER method, this idea, and you're not just going to be solving problems, but you're transforming yourself and the world around you. And so if you wanted to dive deeper into that idea of the GIVER method, go to thegivermethod.com, sign up for our newsletter where we share like exclusive tips, insights on developing gifts and superpowers and building resilience. We also let you know about when the book is coming out, which is going to be probably around Thanksgiving or Christmas coming up in 2024. And also like on the website how we do if you want us to come speak or be a podcast guest, or the services we offer to help coach people through these things. So go check it out, thegivermethod.com. You can also find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Go find us in those places, follow us, like us, leave a comment saying, hey, I was from YouTube and I know that this type of stuff is working. If this really did resonate with you though, give it a thumbs up. Once again, follow us on this channel, but share this video with someone you think might need this message, someone who maybe needs some help overcoming some challenges. And let's spread this power of overcoming those challenges through giving. Let's spread this positivity out as much as we can. So until next time, please keep growing, keep giving, and remember your superpowers are waiting for you to unleash them in this way. So use them wisely and do so. Believe in yourself because I believe in you, and the world and the universe are waiting for you to step into who it is that you're meant to be. And so I need you to believe in you so that you can step into that and start making the bigger positive change and sparking the change in people's lives. So until next time, have a great rest of your day.